Alright, Lanta, so it was announced a few days ago, but we are finally getting around to talking about the next set of Limit Breaker quests, in this case highlighting some of the characters you might want to use to tackle and conquer the Limit Breaker quest. Now, in this case, it is starting a few days earlier, this time on the 5th, and it's also working a tad bit different, and it was previously announced on the recent bunker live stream that we did have over a week ago. Well, as you'll see here right at the bottom, this time around, we're adding the Limit Breaker quest orders up to stage 25. So for those like me that do want that extra bit of challenge, because usually I make it to like stage 30, it's nice to get more rewards after stage 19, which previously is the max reward cap. But they also do mention here that stage 20 onwards is going to be tougher than usual. So it's not going to be somewhat easy to get upwards to stage 25 where you are going to get all the rewards. But they also do mention here that the rewards will be greater and the regular rewards will include transcendence points, or more transcendent points this time around. So I'm excited to see how much transcendent points we can get. I am in desperate need of them, so I would gladly take them. Normally we get 50 orbs and also 500k transcendence points. Hopefully this time we can get upwards to 750 or maybe even a million. That'll be really cool. Now, one thing to keep in mind, they don't mention it here, but they did say on the live stream that it will actually be easier to get to stage 20 this time. So they're not just making it harder for no reason. They're making it easier to get to stage 20, so therefore you can get the usual amount of rewards, but the extra rewards upwards to stage 25 is going to be a tad bit more difficult. So I think that's a good thing. It's easier, it's harder at the same time, but there's also more rewards. Now, with that said, let's have a look at this month's rules. And it's a bit dirty, I'm not going to lie. More so in slot number 1. So, of course, they want you to bring Yuha. Yuha is our traditional Limit Breaker character of the month. And traditionally, Limit Breaker characters are some of the best characters in the game, even outside of Limit Breaker. So, slot number 1 wants you to bring a Mind Hollow Killer. But they don't want you to bring a Mind character. They're forcing you to bring a Mind character. And I hope to not see many more of these rules. I don't like this. It's Mind attribute only, so you can only bring a Mind character in slot number 1. It is melee damage times 2, and it is killer effect times 5. So, of course, Yuha Baha is going to get all the rules here, and he is going to be the best character for this particular slot. Normally, even after this month, Yuha is going to be the best character for slot number 3 every single month. Not only does he guarantee that your strong attacks are back every time he's ready, he also does give your entire team an extra soul bomb when he does get 60 kills, which is super easy to do. A team with and without Yuha is a completely different team. And if you can ever throw in any extra Mind characters in your team, they're going to get better because they're also getting the extra recharge, right? So yeah, right from the get-go, slot number 1, of course, is designed for Yuha. Now, slot number 2, it wants us to bring a hard character with Sorry Per Killer. The rules include heart damage times 2, melee damage times 2, and killer effect times 5. So of course they also want you to bring the new True Shikai Ichigo. First time we've seen Calab make the rules regarding 2 characters, but I guess it makes sense. They are absolutely broken. It's the end of the year banner. You should be pulling on the banner. And I'm not gonna lie, I'm kind of glad they made the rules for Ichigo instead of making for the mid-month characters. Slot number 2 easily could have been forcing us to bring Yachiru or the Chris Nelio, because they both technically have Limit Breaker skills. Nelio with Gauge Rampage, Yachiru with the recharge in between stages. I didn't want to bring him into this mode, so I'm glad they're kind of forcing us to bring Ichigo and also Yuha. But in Ichigo slot, for slot number 2, it's a lot more bearable given the fact that you don't have to just bring hard characters. Of course, you are getting hard damage times 2, melee damage times 2, but as always, you can bring any Sorry Killer that is melee, and you're still getting the 2 times damage from the melee effect, but you're still getting the 5 times killer effects. And then as always, slot number 3 is the flexible slot. There are technically no affiliation enemies, so any power character with no affiliation killer is going to be a lot more ideal in slot number 3. First character that comes to my mind right now is 8th Anniversary Ichigo. So I guess on your screen, this is the team that they want you to bring for this month's Limit Breaker quest. Is it going to be the best team? Probably not, because let's talk about other options. Alright then, so first up, let's have a look at slot number 1, right? So they want us to bring a Mind character, we want to have Hollow Killer, and we want to be a mini character. So if you sort by that, of course, again, Yuha is the best character for this. He's giving you the extra soul bomb, he's giving you the extra recharge. If you can somehow throw on another Mind character into your team, maybe in slot number 3, it makes that character even better, and hopefully you're clearing faster. Unfortunately, and this was very similar to October, where we don't have that many good Mind Hollow Killers, so the replacement here are few in between. In this case, if you wanted to match all the rules, the only other character I guess you would bring is Swimsuit Nelio and also Tag Team Soifon, but these characters are not really that good, especially for Limit Breaker. Unless you have them max transcended, they're not going to be that good upwards to stage 20, if you're lucky. Now, of course, what you can do to a certain extent is actually bring a ranged character. In this case, Nini is going to be a decent substitute for the new Yuha. But unfortunately, because one of the rules is making you only bring a mind character, that in a way also means less damage for the character. If it was mind damage times 2 and killer effect times 5, you would have been fine bringing Nini. You can still bring her. She has killer, so she is getting that 5 times killer effect, and she does have gauge rampage, so she might be a decent substitute for someone like Yuha. Anyone else though, probably not. At that point, if you don't have Nini, your next best thing to do is just to bring a mind character that is a melee character. And good or reliable, of course, is 8th anniversary Y. He doesn't have killer effect here. He is only getting the 2 times damage output, but Y is a great character, and he's actually been quite usable in a lot of months of Limit Breaker whenever you don't have a good mind character to bring. I think for those that don't have Yuha, Y is going to be the go-to option for a lot of players, and it's definitely going to be a good one at that. Constantly healing himself, doing a lot of damage, and has a really powerful soul bomb, ensuring you to get through those harder stages. Again, unfortunately, other than him, not the greater options. I mean, you can still bring some other characters, right? Like, if you really wanted to, you could bring Ikaku, you could bring this Okiura, Mayuri, Lisa, for example. Not really ideal characters in these situations, but if you maybe have a mind character max transcended or just some decent investment, they might be good enough to help you get upwards to stage 20, where again you do get all the rewards. Luckily again, this time around it is a tad bit easier to get to that. How easy will it be? We're not entirely too sure, so maybe shouldn't be that bad. But overall, slot number 1 wants you to bring Yuha, and it is a tad bit limited in nature with the character that we can actually bring. Again, for slot number 2, we want to bring a hard character that has sword per killer and is a melee character. So in this case, we have, again, not that many options. Surprisingly, there isn't that many good heart sword per killers, because besides Ichigo, I mean, we've had like maybe 3 of them in the last like 4 years, which is kind of crazy to think about. But yeah, overall, Ichigo's going to be an amazing character for this quest. Sword per killer, matches all the rules, has a very high damage output, especially when you do push him against the enemies he wants to go against, that of course being Swipers, because you will see he does have an increased chance to inflict stat elements, and he does do 100% more damage. So that's going to be really good, especially if you do get your SA3 off. You are going to have to position yourself a tad bit backwards. Luckily, the AoE on his SA3 does have a large AoE to it, because the enemies do have poise. But if you position yourself correctly, you should be able to get off that SA3 and fully charge it where you are getting out max damage output. What you can do though, as always, is don't bring a melee character. You are missing out on the 2 times damage output, but since you are a heart character with sword per killer, you are getting that 2 times heart damage and also the 5 times killer effect. In this case, it's a tad bit better. If we specifically sort by ranged only, you have a few extra options, more so the Halloween Noel and especially 6th anniversary Aizen. I know a lot of people have this character potentially max transcended. While he doesn't have the craziest damage output, he should be good enough as a decent substitute to help you again get upwards to stage 20. Other than that, I mean, you could bring Nini. She does have an increased chance to inflict weakening. It wouldn't be the worst idea. But let's have a look at some alternative options. In this case, hard characters only, but let's do melee so we are getting that melee bonus. And there you have someone like Bruno, Kyoge. To a certain extent, even round 16 Concord Ichigo, who's currently in the end of year banner. I would more so say someone like Kyoge and also Bruno would be better substitutes here. If we were to rank them from 1 to 3, Ichigo number 1, Kyoge number 2. To a certain extent, maybe even Kyoge number 1 with his recharge, right? And then also Bruno as your 3rd best character. If you have any of them, they're good characters to use in slot number 2. That then takes us into the slot number 3, where we want to bring a power no affiliation killer. And in this case, 8th anniversary Ichigo is going to be a great character for that. Does have a good damage output, especially with his increased chance to inflict weakening. He's basically ensuring that he's going to apply weakening and also keep everyone in your vortex, thanks to the fact that he does have a tracking vortex with poise break. Surprisingly, outside of the Ichigo, we haven't seen anyone with poise break, which, you know, would have been good for some of these characters, especially those that are designed for limit breaker. It's not that big of a deal, but it's surprising nonetheless. If you know of Ichigo though, this Nelio might be a decent character to use here. Not crazy high damage output, but a decent substitute. Alternatively, unfortunately, I don't have her, but Rukia is going to be a great character for this quest. She's an amazing character, very similar to Kyoge and also Yuha with the way that she was designed. In this case, every time you move into another map, you're recharging your strong attacks, basically meaning that the next time she is available, all of her attacks are back and ready to be used. She has a high damage output thanks to her Frenzy +2, more damage to frozen enemies, increased chance to inflict stat elements, 80% SP boost, and of course also Rampage. So if you have Rukia, probably throw her into slot number 3. She might be the best option for that particular slot. Even though she doesn't have killer, in her case, it just doesn't matter. Alternatively, there are a few other characters that we can bring here that aren't power characters. So one option you can bring here, as always, one of the best characters to use in any month of Limit Breaker for slot number 3 is Kyoge. And more so this month, this might actually be the best team. Yuha, Ichigo, and also Kyoge. This way, you're gonna have 3 characters with like really high damage output, Yuha is going to have his strong attack come back every single time. He's going to give you the extra soul bomb. Ichigo is the ideal character for slot number 2, but with Kyuubi thrown on the team, now Ichigo's strong attacks are coming back and ready to go the next time he is available. And of course with Kyuubi, slot number 3 is usually the easiest stages because they do let you bring anyone you want to. Well, of course, Kyuubi is doing a lot of damage, especially thanks to his Frenzy plus 2, SP boost, Rampage, Tracking Vortex, more damage to drain, and of course his strong attacks will also come back at the same time. This team right here is probably the best team that you can actually make because the synergy between the 3 just work really, really well. An alternative team that you can actually bring, assuming you have Yuha in this case, is bring 8th Anniversary White for the 3rd slot. Because just like Kyuubi was buffing Ichigo, making him a better character, Yuha is going to be buffing White, making him an even better character, but vice versa too. White will be buffing Yuha. In White's case though, he does get the no affiliation killer, so he does do more damage. He of course has a really high damage output. Unfortunately, won't have the increased chance to inflict stabs, but it shouldn't matter that much. Does have a really powerful soul bomb, so if you wanted to nuke with his particular character, Yuha will allow you to do that, potentially twice. But thanks to Yuha in your team, White's strong attacks are coming back instantly the next time he's available. And again, that will make him really powerful. As already mentioned though, the team buffs are going both ways, right? White will give Yuha more movement speed, not really that noticeable, but it might help you save a couple seconds. And then you're also allowing Yuha to do 30% more damage on his soul bomb. And Yuha already has a powerful soul bomb to begin with, so if you are using these two characters, you can either choose to nuke with White or Yuha, and you're most likely going to do a lot of damage on your soul bomb. So yeah, overall, without a doubt, the best team to bring this time around is going to be Yuha in slot number 1, Ichigo in slot number 2, and Kyuubi in slot number 3. Don't have Kyuubi, but you still have access to Yuha and also Ichigo. Well, in that case, you can put White Ichigo in slot number 3, and that'll be your second best team. Don't have 8th Anniversary White, but somehow have Parasol Rukia. She'll be a good character in slot number 3. And again, there's just a few other characters you can switch around. Maybe you don't have Ichigo. Well, it's worth throwing on Kyuubi for slot number 2, maybe Bruno, for example. Any gauge character that can recharge their strong attacks are always going to be good, right? To a certain extent, you could even use Ichibe in slot number 2, given the fact that he is a melee character with also Super Killer. He has Gauge Rampage, he recharges his strong attacks. Not going to be the most ideal character, but if you need it, he definitely will help you get to stage 20. With that said though, I'm definitely going to be trying out team number 1 and also team number 2, my personal recommendations. I'm lucky enough to have access to these two teams, and I'm curious to see what team will be better. I assume the Kyuubi variation will be better, but I'm also more curious to see how far the team will go. In a more traditional Limit Breaker quest, it might go further than normal, but given that this time around stage 20 onwards is harder, I'm not really sure what number to look at, but I'm pretty confident this team will definitely get to stage 25. In the comments below though, let me know what team you guys plan to use, and I'll see you guys next time. Take care and peace.